Sure, Brother Nash, how are you? I am now staying in Heidi Park and I want to ask you a question. Do you know anything about tokoloshis? If you do, know someone that can help me to trap a tokoloshi or to negotiate with a tokoloshi so that it can give me a better contract, please assist me. My wife is very sick. I have taken her to different medical facilities. My wife, she can't feel her legs anymore. I used to be like one of you poor guys. I was a telecom IT guy. I stayed in Soweto with my family and it was very hard. I had a very small Polo Vivo. That thing, it was so old. It was a hand-me-down from my other brother and I was tired of being a joke. All that I had was a sound system that costed more than the little car that I had. Whenever I look back at that life, I feel like vomiting. The way that I used to be so poor, the debt, the black tax, the way that my wife used to struggle with poverty. I traded that Polo for a beautiful life. I now drive a Range Rover Sport and I don't want to return back to poverty. It was in 2020. I was done with being a Polo bourgeois guy. I was tired of maxing out my TFG and Trueworth card just to look like I had money. I was an IT technician, but I was living like a beggar. That was when I met this Zim guy. He did not even look like a ritualist at all. He seemed like a nice guy. He told me that he had a company. We spoke since I was an IT guy and he was supplying some stuff to the government. Then we started working together, but I was basically doing some consultation job for him. This guy, he had money. One day I called him. It was late at night. I remember that night I had gone out with my wife and kids to eat at a nice restaurant. Then my Polo, it started acting up. I called him and I told him that he was the only one that could assist me so that I can return back home with my family because it was getting really late. He came and he said, "My friend, why are you fixing a car that belongs in a scrapyard?" It was a very rude joke that he said in front of my wife. It was very unpleasant, but the next day he told me not to stress about it because he had been embarrassed even more. He said that in order for you to rise up as a man, you have to be embarrassed because if you have friends that keep on telling you that your car is nice, yet it is a poor man's car, then you are never going to get out of the location. He said that he was going to show me how I will end up buying a fleet of cars just to park them at my house. This man, whom I'll call John from Zim, he gave me an oil. He told me to mix it with my Nivea body lotion. He told me that in order for me to become lucky, I was supposed to use the same good luck that he had been using. That was when we started doing some stuff on the internet that was really giving him money. This guy, for a very long time, he had set up student accommodation scams on Facebook Marketplace. He would build websites, but he was paying some Nigerians. I ended up building the websites that looked more professional than any website. With my IT skills, we were unstoppable. Students from all over the country had filled Braamfontein, Stellenbosch, were hitting our inbox like crazy, and we would pose as if we were people that were dealing in student accommodation. So if you just go on Marketplace, then you try to scam someone, it is not going to work and you are going to get arrested as quickly as possible. But we were using things that made people to be a bit more stupid to rent a house that is not even there. It was because of the lucky oil that my friend had given to me and I had gladly accepted that oil. We would post something and the person will become spiritually blind not to see that this house, it is just a house that we would have screenshotted from Google. We would paste a fake Centon house for 4K, and those people, they would not even ask, why is this house that is being said that you can only rent it maybe for 6 months only for 4,000, yet it is in Centon? How much is a penthouse for rental in Centon? They could not be able to ask those questions because of the motive that we were using. They would just come to us. Some of them, they would beg for us to take their money so that we can look for accommodation. There was one girl who had to beg after she had seen that we had a house which we were charging 7K in Centon. This lady said that she had spoken with some of her friends. She was from Limpopo and she sent us her allowance, and she said that she wanted to secure that house so that they can stay in Centon and they can mix and mingle with rich guys. I felt sorry for that poor girl, for this house did not even exist. We did not feel a thing. We were just making sure that we have money, we take care of our families. And I just thought, better her than me. By 2021, I had deleted my Soweto life. I was like a ghost now. I had blocked anyone from my past. I was done with this location mentality. I wanted to live in the place where the most richest people are staying. By 2022, the money that we had, it was just too much. I moved into a mansion in Heidi Park, and I was able to start a company, and I started to do some contracts, but as a subcontractor. But I have not yet won any tender. I just do subcontract work. I bought the Range Rover Sport. It is so nice, brother. When you are driving it, especially if I drive past my old spots in Soweto, it is just feeling so nice. One day when it was raining, I had to splash water on someone that I did not even know, because this used to happen to me when my Polo would refuse to start. Then it is raining, a taxi just drives by, and then it soaks you wet when it was raining. So I thought that life was forever going to be good, because right now the disadvantage that I have is that we have a house here in Heidi Park. We have already been paying a lot of money for the bond that we have been paying ever since we got this house. And my kids, they are now in private white schools. They are speaking in an accent that makes me proud. They don't even remember what Soweto was like. And I can't go back to poverty. The guy that used to assist me, he is no longer alive. This guy, he was the heartbeat in this whole operation that we were doing. Without him, this thing, it started to crumble to the ground. This man, he was the one that was doing all of these rituals, and he did not tell me that this oil that he would give me whenever I had to buy a new body lotion, this oil, it would come at a price. He would have to sacrifice someone from the relatives in order for him to get another bottle of the lucky oil that we would use. And we would use a lot in order for people to keep on giving us money. I did not care about the rituals that he would tell me that he was performing. I would just say that as long as I am having my life nice and I have a car, my kids are in private school, they speak nice English, I did not care much about the type of rituals that this business partner of mine was doing. There was one night when he even cautioned me. I spent 50,000 at a club just to impress this other girl. She was so beautiful, but she was sitting with the Nigerians. I wanted her to come over and be with us, and I told her that I was going to show her that I had more money than the Nigerians. I ended up spending 50K on her and her friends so that I can just sleep with him for the one night we went to a hotel. Brother Nashim, after my friend he had passed away, my friend of mine, he died. He was in an accident on the N1. He was going to his country. He then passed away. A month after my Zim friend had died, that was when the Tokoloshi started to come to my house. The first day when I saw this Tokoloshi, I thought that maybe I was seeing things that were not even there. But this Tokoloshi, it was in my house. My wife was fast asleep and she did not even know that there was a meeting that was happening in our bedroom. This Tokoloshi came and it sat on my chest. It had been a long time ever since I had sleep paralysis. When I woke up, I tried to scream, but the voice could not even come out of my mouth. I tried to lift my finger so that I can just scratch my wife a little bit and she can wake up. This was the first time ever in my entire life seeing a Tokoloshi with my own eyes. The Tokoloshi told me that I was not dreaming, but this was for real, it was happening. This Tokoloshi told me that it was the one that had given me the house which I was sleeping in at Heidi Park, and it had given me the Range Rover. It told me that it wanted its own commission. It told me about my friend John, who used to slaughter goats once a week at the end of the week, but I never did anything to say thank you for the work that you are doing. It told me that it is the spirit of a man that was murdered there by John's father, and John's father went to a traditional healer and begged the traditional healer to help him so that this spirit won't haunt him forever. That was when the spirit of this Tokoloshi said, "It is fine, I am going to be working with your son, but in order for him to keep me at peace, I need blood at all the times. Once each and every week, at the end of the week, you are supposed to slaughter a goat, even someone from the family, so that I can be pleased with the way that you will be spilling blood, because you also spilled my blood." I was shocked because I did not even have any idea. All that I knew was that it was lucky oil that he would give to me. Then I would put it into my Nivea body lotion that made people to like me, that made people to be blind when I would speak with them about money. This Tokoloshi then told me that even though John did not tell me, but since he was dead and I was still using its wealth. And I said, "What wealth are you talking about?" He told me that everything that I owned, it belonged to the Tokoloshi, and if I did not want to sign this contract, it was going to kill me, or it was going to take everything away from me. It told me that it does not want to kill me because it does not have any place to go and stay after it would have killed me. Therefore, we need to work together as friends. Then that was when it told me what it wanted. I said, "What is it that you want from me?" The Tokoloshi then told me that it wants me to sacrifice my wife. My wife is the one that I sacrificed to this Tokoloshi, but we are still fighting. I only agreed on that night because this Tokoloshi, it was sitting on my chest and I was unable to breathe. And I said, "Okay, it's fine. You can take my wife." Then when we woke up, my wife, she told me that she had a wound underneath her feet. I looked at the wound. It was not so deep. I went and I did my hustles and I came back. And then she told me that she was bleeding. When I went upstairs, I saw that there was blood everywhere. I asked her what was wrong. She showed me that underneath her feet, she had a lot of sores that were just coming out of nowhere. I took her to a private clinic, but I was scared to tell her the meeting that had happened the previous night with the Tokoloshi. As I was driving, the Tokoloshi told me that it was a waste of time me going with my wife to the private doctors. It was not going to change anything, for she is the one that is supposed to die. My wife right now, there are times when there is fluid that comes out of her feet. She can be swollen for days and days. Her feet will be swollen. Then there will be fluid that will be coming out. In our bedroom, we have to use air freshener. Otherwise, it will become so smelly as if there is something that is rotting from the inside. I am sitting here. I am asking myself, what is it am I going to do? Should I go ahead and sacrifice my wife? In order for my wife to be killed by this Tokoloshi, I am supposed to give this Tokoloshi the go ahead and say, it is fine. You can take my wife's blood and you can drink it, without me telling this Tokoloshi that it can sacrifice my wife. She is going to suffer. She will get rotten whilst she is still alive. I love this life that I am living right now. I cannot imagine going back to Soweto. I can't imagine my kids going to a public school in the location again. I can't imagine going back. I want to continue living this life. But this Dogoloshim, it has been coming to me on a nightly basis. It reminds me that time is moving. It has other things that it wants to do. It needs this blood to be spilled so that it can enjoy. It says to me, do you know where I was killed? Do you know how painful it was for me to be killed? I have given you wealth, yet you do not want to give me just your wife. I was killed in order for you to enjoy the money that you have right now. Is it fair, my friend? It regards me as its own friend. But when it comes time for it to punish my wife sometimes she wakes up, she will be screaming. When I ask her, why are you screaming? Why? She can tell me that she is in so much pain. She will feel as if there is something that is biting her in her bones, and it gets so painful. Even if I give her pain medication, this medication does not work at all. I am thinking about sacrificing my wife by telling this Tokoloshi that it is time for it to spill the blood and to wash in the blood of my wife, like it told me that it has always done this. When John used to sacrifice the goats, the chickens, and the people from his family, after the blood would have been spilled, it starts to swim in the blood and celebrate. I am afraid of being broke. I already left my job where I was working at Telkom. I'm just surviving on the good luck of this Tokoloshi. Please assist me. Your dear listeners, right there was a message that was sent to me by one of our dear brother, who is saying that he is asking for someone that is a healer that comes from Zim, who is around Joburg, who can help him to negotiate with this Tokoloshi for a better contract without the blood of his wife being spilled. Strange things indeed, they do happen in this world. Let us talk about this in the comment section.